Can you see the mess of books behind me? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So today we are talking about the books that I have on my TBR that are the first in a series, whether or not I own the rest of the series, that I haven't read yet. So this is kind of in companion to the one I posted the other day, which I actually filmed a few weeks ago. And ended up posting out of order because I am a mess. This is its companion, I guess. So some of these, and I will let you know as we're going, I have the whole series because I've had it for a long time. And before I started implementing my don't buy the second one until you've read the first one rule, others, I literally only have the first one. But more than one is out, which is the key here. So newer releases that don't have a sequel yet, I haven't included. Standalones, I haven't included. We're just doing series that already have more than one book out. Most of these are actually completed series. And yeah, let's get started. My cat is trying to play with the tripod. I'll be going through these pretty briefly and I'll kind of tell you what we're doing with them. That's my foot. That's my foot. Okay, so these are also in no particular order because I'm just gonna go. We should end up with some piles beside us by the end of the video. So this first one that I have in my hands is Temeraire by Naomi Novik. This is a Napoleonic Wars fantasy retelling featuring, oh my gosh, featuring dragons. I'm just gonna hold the tripod for a second. This is Naomi Novik's original series. She's the author of Uprooted and Spinning Silver, which I've read both of those and loved them. And I picked this up ages ago in a library sale, if you can't tell, and I'm really desperate to read it. I own book 2, but it's like an 8-book series, and I have not gone any further than that, and I picked both of them up super cheap. So, excited about this. I might have to hold the tripod this whole video because she's going nuts. We have Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rush. This is a YA fantasy following kingdoms that have different seasons. So winter, summer, autumn, spring kind of thing. I've heard good things. The cover is really pretty. I have books 1 and 2, but book 3 was out and I got them all super cheap at like a discount sale, so. One that is technically, I guess, going to be a reread, but I read it for the first time when I was about 10. Spoiler alert. And I never finished the series, so I'm basically going to consider it an unread series because I can't remember enough detail. And that is Aragon by Christopher Paolini. This is the movie tie-in because I was 10 and why would I not? I didn't know what good covers were. I have the rest of the series in the normal covers, of course. Yes, I have technically read this. We're considering it unread for the purpose of like my mental sanity though. I really want to read this whole series. Along similar veins, The Alchemist by Michael Scott, The Secrets of the Immortal Nicholas Flamel series. I, again, have read the first 2, I think. And it's like a 6-book series, but I can't remember either of them. I read them both when I was about 13, maybe, somewhere around there. When they first were coming out, which was like, yeah, so 2007. So I was like 13. And I got these because of the Harry Potter vibes, because of Nicholas Flamel. I remember really enjoying what I'd read. These are obviously middle grade. They're a bit bigger writing. Quite dark. I think this follows sisters. Maybe they're, no, a brother and sister. They might be twins. Sophie and Josh. It has the Nicholas Flamel, the stone, all that kind of good stuff. I have the whole series of this, again, because I was collecting it when I was a kid, and then I was a terrible reader. I had the worst TBR as a child, so it's only continued. I've gotten a better manager of it though, so we're on top of it now. Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson, which is actually like Girl of Fire and Thorns is the current title. This is a really old edition from when it first came out. I think it's even a library edition. I got this at a library sale. Yes. This is a trilogy and I really want to read it. I only own this one and I got it super discounted. If I enjoy it, I will probably go and buy the box set of the Girl of Fire and Thorns full series if I enjoyed this first one, because I don't like this cover, but I got it for like $1, so I couldn't say no, right? The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is obviously part 1 and 2, but really they're one thing, so we've got to hold them up together. This is the first book in the Stormlight Archives series. But yes, the fact that they had to print the small size paperback in 2 books in the UK says a lot about how chunky this is. So like the first one is like 600 pages. And then the second one is like 530 pages. Like there's a lot of book here. A lot of book. But I'm very excited to eventually get to these. I also own the second one, but I haven't picked up Oathbreaker yet. But also Oathbreaker hasn't come down to this small format yet. So until I'm up to date with this series and actively buying and reading the newest ones straight away, I'm going to wait till they're down to this size. I have a thing where I don't mind starting a series in a small format and then jumping up. But if I jump back down again, then I'm sad. There's a couple of series here that I might end up having to do that with. But, yep. The Artemis Fowl series by Ian Colfer. This is book 1, just Artemis Fowl. I also own all of this series. This is like an 8-book series. And I have a like companion novella thing. Middle grade. There's a movie coming out later this year, so I'm definitely going to reread this first one. This is another one where I've actually read most of the series and reread it multiple times, but all of those times when I was younger, like all under the age of 15. So I can't remember them very well, and I really want to start from the start on my reread. So I'm going to start from the start again and consider it basically unread. This is a middle grade fantasy anti-hero series, and it's amazing. If you haven't read them, do, and definitely go see the movie. This is like, I loved this as a kid. There's only like 9 chapters in this first book, but they're big chapters. I think I could like smash this out in like a day, but I'm going to save it till closer to when the movie comes out and then try and slam my way through the whole series pretty fast. I think I've read the first 5 before, maybe even more than that, but I really can't remember the later ones very well, whereas I've reread like the first 3 heaps. So I'm definitely keen to give this whole series a good reread and then finish it. What's this series called? It has a name. Oh no, I can't find the name. This is The Map of Time by Felix J. Palmer, translated from Spanish to English, I'm pretty sure, by Nick Keystor. This is a time travel steampunk Victorian era thing. Like, look how gorgeous this cover is. And they only get better. I have book 2 and it's a trilogy. They're amazing looking. I did try and read this once and I DNF'd it because I was really struggling, but I also think I was a bit young and I wasn't really into adult fantasy, and except for really fast-paced ones, and it just was a slower build and I wasn't in the right mood, but it's always still fascinated me and I wanted to keep going. So we're gonna try again with this. The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. Oh, there goes the kitten. This is the first in a YA, I believe, fantasy series with time travel and magicians. The second book, which is The Devil's Thief, came out at the end of last year. These are a bit chunky for YA. This is a 500-page beast of a novel. And the second one apparently is longer. But I'm really excited to give this a go. I think I really love it. I bought it last year and I'm very keen. The Last Name Sarah by Kristen Cicerelli. Kristen, yes. This is the first in the Iskari series trilogy. The second one just came out recently. This follows dragon slayers. Yes. I don't know that much about it. Some people love it, some people hate it, so I'm really keen to see what side I Fall On. Thinking of the Rock by Melanie Marchetta. This is the first in a trilogy. I have the first two. Yes. I have the first two. There still has a sticker on it. I got it this secondhand. What a nice sticker. I own the first two. I don't own the third one. I have heard really good things about this. This is an old school middle grade young adult fantasy, like that old school young adult. And that's basically all I know. It's the Lumatier Chronicles, and they're technically companion novels set in the same world that follow the same overarching theme but have different characters each time, so I'm really keen. The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I also technically have the sequel, The Angel's Game. This is like a lot of people's favorite book. And someone went to the Brisbane Entertainment Centre's version of Grease, the Arena Spectacular. This is what happens when you buy secondhand books, my friends. I do not know that much about this other than that it's apparently beautiful, and I think it focuses around this book that has been like removed from the world. I don't really know, but a lot of people love it, so I'm going to give it a try at some point. This is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I don't know if I'm going to ever actually read this, and it might end up getting on hold at some point. This is apparently like the first of Robin Hobb's books, and I hear Robin Hobb is amazing, but it's like 12 books to commit to. And I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can commit to such a big series. I've heard some people love this. I've also heard some people say it was difficult to get through. So I don't know. I just don't know. It might end up getting on hold at some point, but it is on my shelf. There's obviously heaps of books left. They're like sets of trilogies, but like that all are in the same world. It's going to be an adventure and an undertaking, but I do have it if ever I decide. I did at one point read The Eye of the World, the first in Robert Jordan's series, The Wheel of Time, which everyone raves about. And I had friends in high school pushing me to read it. I, at some point, eventually read the first one, and oh man, I struggle town. I could not see the appeal. I didn't understand. That first book really turned me off that series. Even though everyone says it's amazing and the whole series is great and there's characters and amazing. No. I was so bored the whole way through, which is what I'm scared is going to happen in this. Though I guess this is only 430-ish pages, so maybe it's not too bad. Whereas that book was like an 800-page first book. I was not ready. Northern Lights by Philip Pullman. I own this whole trilogy and then the Book of the Dust, the new start of the new series. I have technically read this one and half of the second one. Can you see a theme? I was an awful child. I had a habit, I think I've talked about this before, but I had a habit of reading like 15 books at once because I was so desperate to read all of them. And I'd read like a chapter from each and alternate. Guys, my mum told me not to do it. My mum told me it was a dumb idea. But did little like 10-year-old me listen? God no, I was an idiot. So I have a lot of books that from that era that are half finished, that I read like half a book. And also because I was jumping between them, I didn't get connected to characters. I didn't understand. No, it's terrible. So again, technically a reread, but I can hardly remember any details. I only remember this is a polar fantasy. They have demons as their like companions. I remember she gets split from hers. There's also a movie. I can't even remember the movie very well. Eon by Alison Goodman. I have both this and its duology, Iona. I've heard mixed things about this. That it's slow and weird, but then other people say it's fast-paced and great, so who knows? I do own both. Fantasy, it was originally called The Two Pearls of Wisdom. Okay. Dragon Eye, is it an actual dragon or is it just a magic thing? I don't know. Old school young adult fantasy. keen to give it a try, and I have both. I got these, again, super discounted, like I picked them up from an op shop, so. A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. This is a historical fantasy series following Lady Trent, who's the world's preeminent dragon naturalist. This is a whole series. There's like currently out like 6 of them, I think, and I've heard really good things. So I'm definitely keen to give this a good old try. I think it will be really good. But I don't really know that much about the actual plot. So it follows her, not the dragons, which is a thing you should keep in mind, even though these covers are so gorgeous. I love the design of it, like it's a, the old school anatomy of animals books things. It's just so cool, all of them like that, and it's amazing. Next we have Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. I own both books in this duology as well, because it's only a duology and I wanted them to like match. This has, it's a time travel novel. That's what I was trying to think of. I don't really know that much about it other than that it's time travel. I think there's some like Titanic themes, but yeah, I don't know, but I've heard some people love this, some people hate this. Again, it's such a theme. I think that's every book though, let's be real. Some people love it, some people hate it. Definitely keen to give this a try, and obviously I have Wayfarer as well, if I like it. Otherwise I can DNF that and get rid of Wayfarer. If I don't like it, I'm getting rid of Wayfarer. Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I have this whole series as well, this Percy Jackson series. I'm not touching Hero of Ages till I've read the Percy Jackson series, but I do have the whole of that. These are obviously, everyone's heard of these, I think, middle grade-ish, Greek gods, Roman gods, Greek gods, retelling. It's Greek gods. Yeah. I'm excited. I just need to find the time to read these. They're all pretty short though, this first series, so it should be fun. Then I can start collecting the Hero of Ages. This Mortal Coil by Emily Saveda. This is a young adult sci-fi. Like, ooh, it's a sciencey sci-fi. It looks at genes and I think there's like a code hidden in her DNA. I don't know, but it sounds awesome. The 3rd book's about to come out, or has just come out. And I am, ooh, what's going on here? I am very excited to read this series. I just need to get around to it at some point. Oh, which is me with all of these, let's be real, but like, oh, it looks so good. First Life by Gina Showalter. This is an afterlife style novel. I did a try chapter video with this. I read the first chapter and was really like hooked by the start. I know this is on Scribd, so I'm tempted to pick this up on audio, and it's currently a trilogy. I think it's only a trilogy and there's 3 books out, so I could, and I think they might all be on Scribd, so I might be able to zoom my way through this series decently fast when I get some time on audio. The Graces by Law Eve. Don't fall off the screen. I believe this is now a duology and the second one has come out, so it's like tentatively in this video. This is a magical realism kind of fantasy set in a real world style, like small town, with these 3 girls, the Graces, and they maybe have magic. Again, I've heard some really good things, so people I trust love it, so I'm very keen to give this a go, and I'll buy the sequel if I like this first one. The Name of the Star by Maureen Johnson. This is a Jack the Ripper retelling, I think. Yeah, it's like a Jack the Ripper copycat killer kind of story. I've really enjoyed the Truly Devious books so far by Maureen Johnson. This is her like previous series before that, and I have books 1 and 2, and I'm definitely keen to give them a go, and I'll pick up the last in the trilogy if I get through these ones. Yes, it's the Shades of London series. It's like a modern London boarding school. She does like boarding schools. And then there's a brutal murders mimicking the horrific work of Jack the Ripper. Ooh. Ooh. Rebel of the Sands by Alvin Hamilton. This is book 1 in a trilogy. I don't know what the trilogy is called. We'll just call it the Rebel of the Sands trilogy. This is a Arabic inspired series, and it follows, what's her name? Amani. And she's trying to escape her shitty little town, with other rebellion, deserts. I've heard it's really good. This is nuts because this book's only like, what, 350 pages, and then the next book is like double this. Nuts. The Grail Quest series. This first one's The Camelot Spell by Laura Ann Gilman. Another middle grade book that I've had since forever. I own this whole series. I've read the first 1.5. Again, they're only short. They're only like just under 300 pages. And I just need to read them because I can't remember a thing to then finish the series. I don't even know really where I'm up to. Like somewhere in book 2. Somewhere. Inkheart by Cornelia Funk. I never read this. I've never even watched the movie. Has it got Brendan Fraser in it? Is that a thing? I own book 1 and book 2. I have read and I own from her Dragon Rider, which I loved when I was a kid, though again, can't remember now, but it's a standalone, so I'm not going to go back and reread that. I've heard really good things about the series, and I own book 1 and book 2 because I picked them up for super cheap. And I'm definitely keen to give them a try. Another fantasy that I may end up getting rid of and unhauling at some point is Battle Axe, book 1 of the Axis trilogy by Sarah Douglas. I've heard some amazing things about Sarah Douglas, and I picked this up super cheap. Again, it's the same kind of like Robert Jordan big epic fantasy. And it's big. It's like 600 pages. It's got a glossary. It's that big epic fantasy, and I believe it's a trilogy. But there's like other trilogies, kind of like Robin Hobb. I've heard great things, but I don't know if I can commit. Same problem. I don't know if I can commit. So we'll see how I go. And another one, but I do actually own this whole trilogy. I think this is only a trilogy. And this is Dragonclaw, which is book 1 of The Witches of Ailianan. By Kate Forsyth. I have the first 3 at least, if this is more than 3, because I found them all super cheap. And I love Kate Forsyth. I've read her like middle grade series. I recently finished that in like January. So I'm definitely think I will enjoy this. I also have another adult standalone from her that I also have on my shelf. It's like, this is like just over 500 pages. Again, I don't know if I'm prepared to commit, but this possibly is only a trilogy, so it might not be so stressful. We have Steel Heart by Brandon Sanderson, which is the first in the Calamity series. I think all 3 right now. This is his like superhero, supervillain story. Kind of middle grade I've had. I probably won't read this till I've like clocked off the whole Cosmere series, which is my plan. I want to do the Cosmere and then I'll do his other series, Hello Kitten. We'll see how this goes. But I picked this up recently for $1 from my library, so I got it. And it's in the matching like cover style to all his other stuff, which I like. We have Graceling by Kristen Kishore. This is part of a trilogy of companion novels. It's Graceling, Fire and Bitter Blue, all set in the same world but following different characters. And in this world you have a Grace, which is like an exceptional skill, and her Grace is killing. You know how much I love assassins, right? So I'm very keen to read this, and I've heard it is amazing. Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This is a duology, so not too intensive. The second one came out late last year, and this is a Snow White retelling, but following the villain origin story. or at least this first one does, and it's in a Chinese world, like Chinese inspired world. So I'm really keen to give this a go. I bought this kind of recently, so we'll see. Hey, that's my toe. Oh, the pile's getting smaller. Oh. We have Lament by Maggie Stiefvater. This is one of her first series of the duology. I have both. Again, I picked them up super cheap. This is Fae, Assassins from Fae. Oh, and our main character D is a clover hand, someone who can see fairies. That sounds so good. That sounds great. We'll see how that goes. I do own both of these. And another Maggie Stiefvater, we have the Wolves of Mercy Falls series. I own all of these as well. This is Shiver, the first one, in the edition with the coloured writing. So like this one's the blue cover, so the inside is blue, and the second one's like red and the inside's red and then green. Yep, you see. I've definitely read the first one before. I've read it from a friend, and then like when I was 14, 15. I have no recollection of whether I've read books 2 and 3. None whatsoever. I don't know. So I own this whole series now, and I'm going to start from the start because I have basically no recollection of it ever happening. The PC Grant series? Yeah, that's what it's called. This was originally a trilogy, and I bought the box set, and then it became, the Peter Grant series. Then it became like, it's still ongoing. So I own the first 5. There's now like 7. This is fantasy mystery in London. Under its dark surface is patched full of crime and of magic. So it's like murder mystery, magic. It kind of gives me, it reminds me of the setup of the series by, what's his name? It's really huge. Where they're wizard cops. I can't remember. But this one looks a bit more up my alley. And, well, I just didn't want, again, I didn't want to commit to like a 30 book series. This one is only 7. So much more reasonable. I really want to start Rivers of London soon. I've heard great things from people I trust. Across the Nightingale Floor by Leon Hearn. Leon Hearn's an Australian author. It's Gillian Rubinstein, I think. And she writes as Leon Hearn for these Asian-inspired fantasies, which is a bit not PC, but you know. I have most of this series. I think I'm only missing a prequel novel. This is the Tales of the Atori, and maybe I do have them all. This is the first one. They're Japanese-inspired fantasy. It says, neither the setting nor the period is intended to correspond to any true historical era, though echoes of many Japanese customs and traditions will be found in the landscape and seasons of those of Japan. So, definitely keen to give this a read, but if you have any, like, glaring problems with this, please let me know, and I'll unhold them, because I'm not about that life. Dogs are, like, going at it outside. I have a dog training thing across the road from me. The dogs are going nuts. We have the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. I never got into this at the time, but I now own the whole series because I picked them up secondhand for like $2 each. And you know, they're going to be trashy, but hopefully I'll enjoy them anyway. And I can just fly through the whole series. If it comes like 10 years later and I still haven't read them, I'll probably unhaul them. What's this series called? There Are Dragons. And this is called Talon. This is the first one. I own the first 3, and I think there's 5 in this series. This is Julie Kagawa's Dragon series. It is, they're like dragons that can be in human bodies. The idea is so cool. I am very intrigued about this, but I've just never had the time to get around to it. I'm really keen to give this a try. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This is actually my current 5-star predictions set of books that I have waiting to read, so I should be reading this very soon. This is a adult sci-fi that's apparently like a character exploration of this like spaceship with a whole bunch of species and things on it. I'm really keen. It's a trilogy. and they're all out, so gotta get there. The Trader's Kiss by Erin Beatty. This is a recent haul for me. I was talking about how it's such a cover buy, but it's like literally gorgeous. This is a trilogy and the third book comes out sometime this year. So the second book is already out. And it looks so good. I don't really know that much about it. An obstinate girl who will not be married, a soldier desperate to prove himself, a kingdom on the brink of war. A little bit stereotypical for YA fantasy, but I don't care, we're gonna give it a go. We have The Star-Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi. This is also upcoming on my TBR because I really want to read it soon. This is a duology. And book 2 is already out, obviously. She's now moved on to other things. This is an Indian inspired. So obviously Roshni Chokshi's half Indian, half something else. I did know, but I'm blanking. So I think it's Indian inspired. It looks so good. It's fantasy, obviously. And I've heard this is like a Hades and Persephone retelling. Oh, I'm so excited. Then we have Lady Helen and the Dark Days Club, also by Alison Goodman, who we talked about earlier. This is a trilogy and they're all out, or at least I think it's a trilogy. There are currently 3 books out. This is a historical fantasy set in 1812 London. It looks really good. I think there's demons and stuff. I guess backdrop of Whispered Secrets in St. James Palace, soirees with Lord Byron and morning calls from Beau Brummel, delightfully dangerous adventure of self-discovery and dark choices that must be made, whatever the consequences, demonic conspiracies, missing housemaids, they're trying to marry her off because she's about to debut. Oh, I'm so excited. It's a bit chunky. And there are, 3 out, but I only own the first one because I'm a good girl now. Wicked Like a Wildfire is another recent purchase from me. I thought the second one wasn't out yet, but it actually is. This is a duology. It's a magical realism. The women in their family have the unique ability to gleam or manipulate beauty. So one sees flowers as fractals and turns their kaleidoscope visions into glasswork, while the other one interprets mood as music. Ooh, I'm really enjoying magical realism at the moment, so that's why I picked this one up. I didn't know the second one was out already. It is. I'm hopeful to get to this soon. Finish the second one. Boom. Oh, we're almost done. 2 more. Winter Song by S.J. Jones. Again, I think this is the trilogy, but it might just be a duology. This is a labyrinth loose retelling, so there's a Goblin King. I don't know that much about it. I've heard this first one's really good, but the second one, Shadow Song, is a little disappointing. So we'll see what I think. We'll see. I do only own the first one because I'm a good girl, and we'll see. We'll see. I do love The Labyrinth, so. And finally, The Falconer by Elizabeth May. This is a trilogy. All of them are out. I follow Elizabeth May on Twitter and her political stuff is amazing. She's a stunner, she's a liar, she's a murderer, she's a falconer. She's like a fae killer. Oh, the whole series is out, and I'm very keen to read these. Look how pretty they are. Apparently they're super cliffhangery too. So definitely keen to read this soon. So those are all the books on my TBR that are part of a series that more than one book is out, and I own the first one and I haven't read them. I have a problem. This video I've been filming for 40 minutes. I have a problem. I have a problem. But alas, though, to be fair, if any of these disappoint me, I'm not going to keep reading. Even if I own them, I'm going to just whoosh, they can go. So these have got to impress me to get to the rest of the series. I kind of like picking up first of series because I'm not someone who, I used to be someone who had to commit to the whole series, but now I'm not. Now I'm really not. I can just say, that was okay, but it was just okay. I can't be bothered. And that's fine. That's totally fine. So thank you for sticking around for this really long video. Hopefully I get this edited on time and uploaded on time. I think I'm going to edit it right now as I'm eating breakfast. Thank you for watching. It's a long video. which just makes up for the short one that was the other one. I'll see you next week with some more content from me, and otherwise I will see you next time. Bye!